today, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you this year's District Governor Keith Hodkinson. Keith has been a Rotarian for 37 years. In that time, he served as the president of the Tiffin Club twice. He is a Paul Harris Fellow, +1, the second one being awarded by District Governor Doe for his distinguished service to our district. In 1985, Keith was one of 5 Rotarians that helped develop the Tiffin Rotary Community Auction, which just happened this past weekend, if I remember correctly. In 2013, Keith kicked off a program called the Rotary Technology Initiative in working with the school to purchase iPads and a charging station. In 2014, as past president and a member of the Tiffin Rotary Club Foundation, he helped encourage the club to move into a more supporting more major international efforts, and he's going to talk with us about that a little bit today. Keith was named as the district governor nominee in the fall of 17 and began his ride up the ladder in the governor's line of succession, and he will become Tiffin's first district governor since 1946. Professionally, Keith has worked in the radio broadcasting industry for 45 years. Currently, he is doing a local morning radio show on WVVI, I cannot talk today, Classic Hits 96.7 that serves Findlay, Tiffin, and Fostoria markets. Personally, Keith has a great love of rescue dogs and was the chief developer of the Tiffin Bark Project, a 1.5-acre off-leash dog park in Tiffin that in 3 years has grown to nearly 400 users. In 2018, he was named Citizen of the Year. Keith is single and is the father of 2 sons, Eric and John, and a 3rd son who passed away in April of 2020. Please welcome District Governor Keith Hodkinson.
Thank you so much, Diana. This is club number 34 that I have done of the 63 clubs in our district. And it's so good to see people and not be looking at a laptop, which I did in the beginning of all of this back on July 1. This is a very bizarre time we live in right now. We can't hug our friends. We can't shake hands. We appear on a television screen with other Rotarians, like on an episode of the Hollywood Squares. It's a game show in case you don't remember that one. Our All Ohio President-elect Training Seminar was canceled. Our district conference was canceled. We can't go to concerts, we can't go to plays, we can't go to movies. Our social lives, our work lives, our Rotary lives have all been turned upside down. I'm going to take you back to the President-elect Training Seminar that was held in March of 2019. That was the last time that was held. That's the seminar that's held every March for those president-elects who are going to become president of the Hicksville Club on July 1. I had just spoken to the group on how Rotary's rules had changed, where you could form an addition to your club, an extension of your club, by, let's say you had a group of people here in Hicksville that wanted to meet at 6 o'clock at night, and they wanted to meet at a local bar, and they wanted to do service projects, or they wanted to meet someplace else and do projects, and they wanted to be an extension of your club. You're allowed to do that now, so that your club, in essence, grows, and you're getting more people involved. I sat down and Rex Engel, who is a past district governor, spoke about the Rotary Foundation. And he, in a very kind of an offhanded way, asked a question to the group. He said, how many of you know about global grants? And less than half of the room raised their hand. I was floored. I was like a dog that hears a sound they don't understand and they tilt their head, because here were less than half of the leaders coming in on July 1 as presidents didn't even know why we raised the billions of dollars that we raise around the world for grants and helping people around the world. local clubs like your club, my club, all the clubs across America, all the clubs across the world, we support local projects. We support baseball leagues and the libraries and the hospitals and drug abuse programs and all those things. But the real life-saving humanitarian work of Rotary is done far away from Hicksville. It's performed in the mountains of Guatemala, the hot, humid cities of India, the mountainous, cold villages of Mongolia. Rotary is everywhere, doing so many things for so many people, and a large number of you, including myself 7 years ago, have absolutely no idea what it is that we do. I'm going to take you on a short journey. It's my journey. It's how I learned within myself that I could make a difference. I tell people that I have been in Rotary for 37 years, but I've been a Rotarian for 8. It was at the conclusion of my second term as president of the Tiffin Club that I helped to get our board of directors to donate $3,000 to a program that a guy by the name of Sean McGee from the Swanton Club was going around doing a dog and pony show on getting clubs to buy into a program in Honduras. There were 8 other clubs that did it, clubs like Bellevue, Fostoria, Tiffin, Elyria, Swanton, all bought in. We had 9 clubs. So I figured 9 clubs times 3, it's $27,000 plus matching money from the foundation. And all of a sudden we had some really good money doing some really good things in a really bad place. To top it off, I decided to put my own money where my mouth was, and I purchased the airline ticket and bought the hotel to go spend a week in San Pedro Sula, Honduras, which, had you Googled what's the most dangerous city in the world at that time, it was San Pedro Sula, Honduras. So dangerous, in fact, that another one of the Rotarians that went with us, Gina Reuter, who's blonde, had to dye her hair dark because blondes are very much in danger of being kidnapped for ransom or worse in Honduras. Our plans were to work up in the mountains for a week on a school that was being built by other global Rotary clubs. Unfortunately, about 4 days before we left for the trip, the rains came, and all the roads up to the mountains and to get up to the school area were washed out. So we were unable to make the 2-hour ride up to the school every day. So plan B was to continue working at a girls' orphanage that they had done in the past. So for a week, all of us from District 6600 spent that week giving some dignity back to the 20 young ladies that lived in that facility that ranged in age from 6 to 20. They were literally throwaway human beings that their parents had dropped off because they couldn't afford them any longer. And so they were behind a 10-foot high wall with razor wire, big steel door. But when you were on the other side of that door and that door closed like that of a bank vault, you were in their home. And they treated it as such. With all that going on for them, couldn't speak any English whatsoever, but they were happy. They were happy with no cell phones. They were happy even though they couldn't leave the facility without an escort. They were even happy without a lot of the necessary common supplies of girls becoming young women. And that week, each of us had our job. We installed refurbished computers. We rebuilt and painted a concrete wall that was in danger of falling down. It was bowing out. We replaced the dirty, greasy screens in the eating quarters that required us to rip out the old screening material and install new screens with new spline using a spline rolling tool. Spline is that rubber string that you put in to put a screen back together. It takes a very specialized tool, a tool that's easy to find at Home Depot or Lowe's here, but not so easy to find in the most dangerous city in the world. In fact, a store so dangerous and a city so dangerous that outside of True Value Hardware store in San Pedro Sula and all the other stores there is a man standing outside with a sawed-off shotgun and a belt with very visible shells on it protecting the store. A store so dangerous that when you walk in, if you have a pistol, you take it out of your pocket, you give it to the man at the door who gives you a claim tag like you're giving him your hat. He puts it into a 12 by 12 inch locker, same ones that we use to put our shoes in, closes the door, gives you the claim tag, you go buy the supplies you need, you come back, you give him the claim tag, you get your gun back, and then you go on your way. Gina, being the only female on the trip, helped the girls and the older female employees add some fluorescent lighting in the dark, moldy, bat, rat, mouse, feces-filled food storage room. She then took them all on a shopping trip to buy clothes and shoes and supplies for the young women. They came back giddy with laughter. Gina was their new BFF, their best friend. Being a handyman, I got the job of repairing a water pump that was supposed to kick on when the city's water system failed, which happened about twice a week. The pump had not worked in 2 years. In the sleeping quarters, there were 5 toilets, one right after the other. There was no division between them. There was no wall. There were just 5 toilets. Only 2 of those toilets had worked over the last 3 years. So I offered to take on the challenge. Most of the repairs were minor in nature, and within about a day and a half they were all fixed and they were all working. But it was there, on my back, under a toilet, in the most dangerous city in the world, that I had my Rotary moment. With 3 Spanish-speaking girls staring down at me with smiles like I had just given them a puppy on Christmas morning, all because the last of the toilets flushed. The most basic thing in the world, and they were happy. At the end of the week, we threw a pizza party for all the girls and the staff. They dressed up and acted like it was their prom. But they did something important. They made a poster. It was a poster with all of our names on it, and there were sayings written in English. There was one card that was taped to the poster that I remember very fondly, and many of the members on the trip did. It was a pink 3x5 index card. I have a picture of it on my phone still. It simply said, "Thank you for the attention." Did we personally save a life during that week? No. But as Rotarians, we made the lives of those girls more livable. More importantly, they gave me a gift. A huge gift. They made me realize why I am a Rotarian. I truly believe that deep down, every human being has the desire to give back, to make the world a better place. Some do it in a relatively small way, like they'll be at the local grocery store, and when they're buying a bottle of clothes detergent, they'll buy a second bottle. They'll gather up some old towels at the house. They'll take them down to the Humane Society. Others will be at a Bob Evans restaurant, sitting there, realizing there's a family across the way that's having a tough time, trying to raise kids, keeping them in order, trying to make it be a loving experience, but you know they're having a rough time. And you very quietly motion over to the waitress to bring you their bill. And you get up and you leave, you pay their bill before they even know that you did it. You did it because it makes you feel good. It's a selfless act. Being a member of Rotary can help you attain that same feeling that I received nearly 7 years ago by getting involved in your club, and more importantly, within your district. Because it's within your district that you start to see the real, true work of Rotary around the world. Many of us stay right here. I don't necessarily mean right here in Hicksville, but we stay in our local environment, never looking outside of that environment to realize there is so much more that we do in this world to literally save lives all the time. I know things are discombobulated right now. Are we meeting in person? Are we doing a Zoom meeting? Are we doing a Zoom meeting and meeting in person, which is now called a hybrid meeting? At some point, this craziness is going to settle down, and that pendulum will level off, and a new normal will settle in. And at that time, we'll be able to get back to the fundraising and your pancake supper and the meetings and the hugging and the handshaking and whatever form of expression you want to show to each other. I was in San Diego back in January, just before COVID started. I was at what was called the International Assembly. It's the last piece of the training puzzle where all 532 district governor-elects from around the world get together. We meet in one place, speaking different languages, interpreters, different dress, different customs. Rotary President-elect at the time, Holger Knopf from Germany, was speaking, and it's there that he unveiled the theme for the year. After an inspiring speech about all that Rotary has to offer, like friendship, professional development, travel, leadership skills, he concluded with what we were all waiting for. He exclaimed in his German accent, "Rotary opens opportunities." We all cheered as the logo of the 3 doors representing the 3 facets of Rotary appeared on the screen, which as you can see on my banner over there at the top, which represented Rotary, Rotaract, and Interact. And if you don't know what those other 2 are, those are the different age levels at which we get people involved in grade school, high school, and in the college level. However, it was less than 6 weeks later that I felt that his theme meant more than anything else, because those doors now represent to me Rotary, its past, its COVID present, and its post-pandemic future. We have opportunities behind us that we've missed. We have opportunities beyond us that we don't know what they will be until the future presents them and how we will react to them. But we also have opportunities in front of us today. Opportunities on how we not only will maintain our clubs by making sure that any member is right for our club, but also that we are right for them. We have all taken in new members into our club because they had a pulse, and they had 98.6 degrees. And in a year they were gone. Why? Because we didn't train them. We did a poor job of introducing them into what Rotary is. It's a nice place to make business contacts. Let's call it what it is. That's why most of you joined in the beginning, because you could make business contacts. But why did you stay? You stay because you like being around your friends and you like helping Hicksville. Sometimes it's a nice place to have a great lunch like we had today. Sometimes you get a good speaker. But how do we keep them? Because Rotary gives them something they get no place else. How do we make your club meaningful to them by finding the switch within them that makes them want to say and feel, I truly feel I can make a difference in my family, in my community, and in my world. That's a culture that only you can build within your club. But you need to start now so that you and your members and you see the value of being a member of the #1 service organization in the world. This year I challenged every club to an opportunity. For as long as I can remember, every year we have grant money, and we've helped people all over the world. India, Sri Lanka, clean water projects, sanitation projects, all unbelievably meaning, life-saving projects. But this year is different. This year we turn to ourselves. We turn to our neighbors, our friends that have supported our fundraising projects for years, because we're hurting. I've asked the Foundation Committee of District 6600, headed by Deb Cheney, to put together a program that I call the We Are One grant program. It's a program where we took $63,000 of grant funding, $1,000 for each club in our district. And I asked clubs to consider in a 2-for-1 split. For every $2 you raise, we give you $1, a maximum of $1,000 from the district. You end up with $3,000. Come up with a project. Come up with a project locally that addresses one of our 7 areas of service, of which environment is now one of them, and addresses the COVID issue. Sit around the table, do it on Zoom, come up with ideas, think outside the box. How can we make a difference in our town? Do it by September 30th, and the money's yours. We're getting some incredible responses from our clubs. This year, and we call ourselves Rotarians, we call ourselves people of action. We get things done. During this unsettling period, you can sit on your hands and do nothing and wait for this to settle out, or you can take action in new and unique ways. A person once said, if an organization is to realize its proper destiny, it must be evolutionary at all times and revolutionary on occasion. The person that said that was Paul Harris. Now's the time for all of us to be revolutionary in our thinking. Just because we always did it this way doesn't mean that you cannot come up with new and exciting ways to get things done. Who would have ever thought that 1 year ago, actually less than that, 8 months ago, 4 letters would have changed our lives? Z-O-O-M. Who ever heard of Zoom back in January? Now we all do. It's what I call a pandemic pivot. Quickly you change one action that's not working to a new action that keeps you moving forward. Start thinking of new ways to pivot your club into gaining new members. Over the last 6 months, I have learned to enjoy boating. I bought the first boat of my life. I have a little place up on Lake Erie in the Sandusky Bay where I go to every Friday afternoon and stay till Sunday. I bought an old 1986 23-foot Wellcraft boat because I wanted to learn to boat. Little did I realize what that lesson taught me. For those of you that have ever been out on Lake Erie or the Sandusky Bay, you know you can be going very smoothly, very calmly, and then some idiot with a wave runner comes by, or another boat, and all of a sudden you're going left and right and up and down and trying to just maintain control, but eventually it all settles back out and you keep moving forward. That's exactly where we are right now. We're in that motion of back and forth. We don't know from one day to the next what the state's going to allow us to do and not allow us to do. But eventually it will settle out and we will continue on our journey. Now, there is, we call it the 4-way test, but there is a 5th line to the 4-way test. Does anyone know what it is? Is it fun for all? There's actually a banner you can buy that has the 4-way test with the 5th line on it at the bottom. We have unfortunately lost everything this year. I have lost a lot of things in my life this year. We have lost, in terms of Rotary, we have lost our pets program. We've lost our induction ceremony. We lost the district conference. So all I have to look forward to now is my district conference, which is going to be April 22nd through 24th, 2021, downtown Cleveland, Ohio, at the Key Center Marriott Hotel. I said earlier, come to a district event, become involved in your district. It is there that you learn the true meaning of what we do, where you hear presentations from people that actually first-handedly were affected by what we do. But I'm also a rock and roll guy. I've been in radio for 45 years. I grew up with CKLW radio, where most of us heard about rock and roll for the first time. See, every time. Certain people shake their heads. We know who you are. And you can all sing the jingle. What we've done is on Friday night, April 23rd, I've rented out the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And District 6600 will be there. And what happened is District 6630, which is Cleveland proper and off to the east, heard about what we were doing. Pat Myers, who's the district governor over there, is a very good friend of mine. And she's having her district conference the same weekend in a different hotel. But she says, I want our people to come to your event. And I said, okay, we'll sell tickets. And then all of a sudden, the 3 other districts in Ohio said, well, we want to come to the event. Can we buy tickets? I said, sure, we'll sell tickets. And then the Detroit region said, can we buy tickets? Sure. So all of a sudden on Friday night, April 23rd, the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will be filled with Rotarians. Rotary Rocks 2021. It'll be the first time in over a year that we've been together as one. So I encourage you to mark that date down. You'll hear more about it as we get closer to that. I will leave you with the mission statement of what Rotary is. If you've never heard it, it's short, it's very inspirational, and it's a call to action. It says, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. We appreciate you joining us today and appreciate the message that you gave. Does anybody have any questions for?
I got one for you, Michael. Has our club done anything with this grant yet? I know you brought it up one time.
Yes, we've mentioned it a couple of times. The executive board has discussed it, and we have some ideas, and we're a little bit down the road on getting our grant application together. So.
Okay, I just wondered where we were.